Alrighty, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the daily Roundup webinar. I want to welcome you, guys. You know, I was run over like a freight train in the dollar CAD today. Tried to pick it up as we approached the support zone. Well, actually, let me take that back. That's when I put a pattern in play in. I actually put in a pattern in play there, but I actually started buying the dollar Canadian at like the 126.50 level, and then I added to it down here. And you know, in typical fast moving situations, when I get stopped out like that in a move that way exceeded what I thought it was going to happen, it probably ends up being the bottom, which I think probably was the case. I got stopped out just below the 50 level, just below the 60 level, excuse me, through the bottom of that support zone. You know, the thing is that was a big move in the dollar Canadian, considering the fact that I actually sold it overnight at and I got a good sale at 127.07, you know, from picking it up yesterday. I thought it'd be in the same fashion in a flag pattern, but man, that thing moved really fast. And I think a lot of this obviously had to do twofold. One of them being the S&P. It continued to rally, pushing up towards resistance here. And if you were on the morning edge, I was thinking, yeah, we might extend to maybe the lows here. But more importantly, it was really the crude oil move. This is a massive, massive crude oil move. And we did stop right at resistance, but you know, it got to my risk parameters and I'm like, I had to take it off. But if you guys are trading the dollar Canadian, it's probably due for at least an oversold bounce. Now, the question is, what do you do with it now? I still think the dollar Canadian is pretty bullish because we're above the 200-day, or because we're above this trend line and we're above the broken trend line. The problem is we're back below the 200-day moving average. And that's what I'm most concerned with right now, is that we're back below the 200-day. If we close back above 126, I think that could argue that you know, it may have bottomed. Now, one of the currencies that I just bought also at the same time that did not move as aggressively is the US dollar Norwegian krona. I picked this thing up, you know, right here at the 891 level. It is, you know, trying to stabilize after having an ABCD move, and this is maybe more respected, or more respecting the flag bottom way more than the dollar Canadian did. But these are some pretty aggressive moves, and I'm you know, I've got to see a nice recovery in the dollar Canadian. I got to see a little bit of a pullback in crude oil. By the end of the day, I'd like to see the US dollar Norwegian krona back up into the flag before I'm comfortable holding on to a long. But yeah, really big move in the Canadian. This one caught not just myself, I'm sure a lot of people off guard. That's 127, just this move alone, not the, you know, the overnight high, just the move where it started today. That's a 175 pip move out of nowhere. And based on the volatility that we've seen in recent weeks and recent months, I didn't expect that type of volatility to come hitting the market the way it did, you know. And that's, you know, obviously an example of me getting run over, which ain't going to be the first time. Let me just say that. Now let's take a look at the euro dollar. The euro dollar is in the wedge still. I'm still pretty shocked that the euro dollar is contained in this really tight wedge. Obviously, like I said earlier today, we're probably going to be waiting for the ECB. The flip side to all this is, in this big rally that we've seen in equities, this nice bounce back, there hasn't been much move in the dollar, the euro dollar, which that would concern me. If I was long the euro, I would be concerned about that. Dollar, the sterling, we got to be careful. A little false breakdown. I'm selling into this rally, but I think it's going to be where we close today. I'm trying to hang on for more of a swing trade. Obviously, I'm looking longer term with this big double bottom, but I am, you know, concerned that we're back above the breakdown point. But you can see the 200-day moving average is is stalling the advanced. And that's why this morning, if you look at our bias chart, the resistance is at 137. That's because that is the 200-day moving average, basically right there. And you know, we're being capped by it right now, but I'm not overly convinced either. Again, what I'd like to see is I'd like to see some dollar strength come through the market, push the dollar, the pound dollar down, and you know, euro back towards the 70s or so, sterling back into the 136.50s before I'm even comfortable being on the short side of the pound. I got a small piece, and I have an addition that, let me make sure my order has not been triggered yet. So my order is 8 pips away from where current prices are. But yeah, I don't know how comfortable I am with that right now. Aussie's bounced. We're bouncing towards what we thought would be resistance here at 73.70. We're getting close. We're at 73.60. But looking at this resistance, I think that should hold. Kiwi had a nice recovery. We're gonna have to take this flag off because that is irrelevant. Like I said, I was a little nervous about the Kiwi. I'm not really too sure what to do with it, hence the range designation today. Dollar Mexican peso. You got to take note that the dollar Mexican peso is holding up really well. After this big bounce in S&Ps, let's think about this from a percentage standpoint. You know, we had a almost 3% rally in the S&Ps from the lows. You take an emerging market currency like the dollar Mex, and the dollar Mex is actually flat for the day. The Mexican peso is actually a little weaker. You know, how about if we give back 2% of that 3% rally that you just saw? Well, then there's a strong possibility that the dollar Mexican peso is going to be trading at new highs. So we've been basing a lot here. Remember, this move that you saw through these levels, the 20, 40, 20, 30, this was right when Banxico raised rates, right? Banxico raised rates, I want to say right when we were around the 2010 level. We slumped, and we really haven't gone much lower, or the Mexican peso hasn't strengthened since Banxico's interest rate hike. That is important to note, because that to me means that the dollar Mexican peso is more prone to go higher. So, you know, the dollar Mex, I think, is very constructive for bulls right now. Dollar yen, still not really trading. I was thinking earlier that we might drop down towards the support, maybe do a little inverted head and shoulder pattern potentially. That's what I was talking about on the face webinar, or on the morning edge webinar today. Let's take a look at yields really quick. Yields have bounced back, but you know, is that bounce about ready to run out of steam? You know, is this pullback in the 10-year about ready to run out of steam? You know, potentially. So, you know, not sure really what to do with yields there. Silver has bounced. Gold's still trading heavy. Again, this is one of those, these are one of those things where you start looking at, you know, gold, saying, all right, do I really want to be bearish dollars if precious metals aren't rising? You know, if you know, is the dollar going to continue to weaken if precious metals aren't going up, if stocks might have paused and maybe they're not going any higher after a 3% bounce? Those are all things that I think we should take into consideration. You know, cryptocurrency is here's the Bitcoin challenging that trend line. And other than that, I think we're just waiting for the ECB. And I have to point out that the euro is very, very much wound up and ready to break out tomorrow. I think tomorrow is going to be a big, is going to, you know, let us know what we need to be doing with currencies. I think you know, the rest of the currency market's going to cue off of what happens with the euro, because if the ECB is dovish and you know, we start to break down, then you're going to see, you know, sympathy dollar just start rallying through. You know, the dollars start rallying, whether it's against the sterling or whether against the Aussie or Kiwi or whatever. you're going to see the dollar recover, even, you know, especially if the euro starts breaking down through like 117.50, and you know, getting down towards the 117 support here. Other than that, let me see if I can take a few questions from you guys that have come in. Lorraine asked about the Aussie. You know, I still think the Aussie looks heavy. And, you know, we wrote down resistance this morning, the Aussie being 73.70 and 74 cents. This is the 70, hold on. This is the 73.70 right here, right? Okay, 74 cents being up here. I would be interested in shorting the Aussie if we got a little higher, but again, you know, it's kind of the same thing you look at with the euro. You had this massive rally in equities, 3% bounce, nice short squeeze. The Aussie has moved from 73 to 73.70. It's not much of a move. You know, if I was a bull, if I was an Aussie bull, I'd be concerned right now. I would be looking at the market going, you know, I don't know if I really want to be long. I mean, I think overall the structure is still bearish in the Aussie overall. Let me take a moment and talk about a couple of things regarding our, you know, chat rooms and everything else. We know, especially if you're with if you're a Forex Flow person, trader that came over from the Forex Flow Live community, you know, it's a different chat room, and we are going to be making changes to the chat rooms. And I know I talked about this yesterday to try to accommodate everybody. We're going to be, you know, fine tuning, tweaking things. So if you guys are, I know it's overwhelming, especially with the ForexAnalytix people. We talk and we chat and we say hello, and you know, there's a lot of, you know, back and forth, and you can end up missing some of the longer term themes because we have so many active traders. We're looking for feedback from you guys. We're going to be soliciting you guys for some feedback. All the active traders, all the active users in the ForexAnalytix community, whether you're on premium or light version, if you're in the chat rooms or not, we're going to be still looking for your feedback, and we're going to be incorporating some of that. So it takes a little bit of time. Well, for us, it's more we can make the changes pretty swiftly and pretty quickly. But the reason why it's going to take a little bit of time, you know, maybe the next week or so, is because we want to make sure we process all the feedback and, you know, deliver you guys and gals features that you want that's going to be, you know, most conducive to all the traders around. So just be patient with us, and I appreciate that. And you know, discussing all of these options with Ryan from the Forex Flow Live team and whatnot. Simon says, say euro drops to the 117 low on a dovish ECB. Do you see much support there? I do. If you look at, sorry, somebody just came to my door but left. That means it was, I don't know what it was. Anyway, sorry about that. Do I see a lot of support at 117? I do. It's horizontal support right through here, right? It's also a long-term 38% retracement. So let's go to the daily chart. Okay. Oops. So the lows from 2020 to the highs of 2021, the 38% retracement comes in at 117. So your question is, do I see a lot of support there at 117? I do. The real question is, what happens if we break through 117? Right? That's, I'm not saying that we're going to, I'm just going to say that that's going to be like pretty big, because we complete, hold on, let me refresh this. We complete a previous pennant, targets, 38% retracement, big fig number, 117. This trend line right through here. And by the way, this is roughly comes in around 117, 116 and change. So there are and will be a lot of support down here horizontally, trend lines, targets. So we'll see how the euro acts, and I think it really depends on, you know, if the ECB is even dovish or how dovish, you know, because the market already has those expectations. Craig says they are mainly long-term traders, question mark. I don't know, Craig. I don't know. I would say probably more swing traders if I had to guess. Kind of like me. Like as a swing trader, me myself, sometimes I got to sift through a bunch of messages, go back and kind of see where everybody's at. But that's why we might have, you know, we might incorporate maybe even another type of trade room, like just an active trade room and maybe more of a swing room. You know what I mean? Amira asks about the IWM. Let's take a look at the IWM. So the IWM, we have seen obviously the recovery here. Let's, you know, let me delete that really quick and check something. So notice, and I'm gonna say this. Let's go from these highs here. So we're above the 50% retracement. You know, this is a 4-hour chart. So the 618 comes in around 224. Previous support might be acting as current resistance right about now. So I think we're in the, I would assume this is like the resistance zone for the IWM. But also note that we made I don't want to say it's a lower high, even though it was, but it's basically an equal high, right? So that means that, there we go. Supports are all pretty key, and it's hard for me to be really bearish IWM yet. But yeah, we start getting below the 205 level in IWM. I wouldn't want to be on the long side. To me, it looks like this is a topping distribution type of channel or distribution phase in the market where we've got this nice little channel, slightly lower highs. I think you have to sell rallies right now while we're below 230. I think that's probably the viable or the analysis for now, especially after this big bounce that we saw in equities. Craig says perhaps split up trade rooms and have one for weekly trades. And that's an idea. An idea is to have an active trade room and one for just more of a market commentary type of room. Those are some thoughts. And once again, I'll be collecting feedback too from everybody. Simon says collecting the feedback takes time and does agreeing changes, but Stelios and Steve have great hamsters so implementation will be swift and will involve daily whipping until complete. And let me throw in there until everybody is compliant. Just kidding. No, but it's just kind of, getting through. Sorry, I was just viewing something. Yeah, just, sifting through it all, just getting through the changes. And says Steve loves your feedback. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, hey, I want to say good luck today. I've got an interview in about an hour's time. Pretty big interview with Brent Donnelly, and I'll be in and out of the chat rooms. Today's been kind of a hectic day for me. And after getting run over, the dollar Canadian's heading back above 126 after stopping me out. It just is. Am I willing to dip my toe back in? I have to just let everything reset. In the meantime, I'll play the dollar Norwegian krona higher, and I will play the dollar Mexican peso higher. So, all right, everybody have a great day. Thanks for tuning in and appreciate all your support. Talk to you soon.